God gave every human being free will, and they get to use that free will to accept Him or reject Him or worship Him in any way they see fit. And this is a God-given right. This is a God-given right that the founders of the United States of America recognized when they wrote the Constitution or other documents such as Virginia Statute of Religious Freedom. Every human gets to worship God as they see fit. We can legislate behavior. We can stop thieves from stealing. We can stop murderers from murdering. But in this country, at least, in the United States of America, we have all agreed that we cannot force people to worship how we think that they should worship. And this is a founding principle of this country. And whoever goes against this principle is an enemy of this country. These freedoms are not only given to us or religions we approve of, they are given to every single American, regardless of religion. If you read what Thomas Jefferson wrote in his explanation in his autobiography about the Virginia Statute of Religious Freedom, you will see that everybody gets this right. He wrote, "The bill for establishing religious freedom, the principles of which had to a certain degree been enacted before, I had drawn in all the latitude of reason and right. It still met with opposition, but with some mutilations in the preamble it was finally passed, and a singular proposition proved that its protections of opinion were meant to be universal. Where the preamble declares that coercion is a departure from the plan of the holy author of our religion, an amendment was proposed by inserting the word Jesus Christ so that it should read departure from the plan of Jesus Christ, the holy author of our religion. The insertion was rejected by a great majority in proof that they meant to comprehend within its mantle of protection the Jew and the Gentile, the Christian and Muslim, the Hindu and infidel of every denomination." This is the American idea. Constitution protects all people. And if you look at historically why they focused on religion in particular, all you have to do is look at history. These people were acutely aware of what was going on in Europe between Protestants and Catholics, all the wars that started after the Reformation. They were probably even aware of things that happened before that, like the Albigensian Crusades, where the Catholics slaughtered other Christians, the Cathars, over so-called heresies. During preceding the signing of the Declaration of Independence, there were persecutions in Russia of old believers who opposed alcohol sales and opposed minor differences of worship, like using 3 fingers instead of 2 fingers, and they were slaughtered for that reason by the government. The founding fathers of this country saw all of that, and they went to great lengths to ensure that Americans, their mindset should be that no one should have that kind of power to tell somebody else how to worship. You can tell people not to steal, and you can tell people not to kill, and you can tell people behaviors, but you cannot tell them how, when, or what to worship. And this is the idea behind the Constitution. So now you have some people picking certain religions, like recently in Dearborn, this guy goes and he says, you're not Americans because you're Muslims, and others are saying you're not Americans because you're Jews, and that is unconstitutional. That is against the very nature of America. We are told in the Virginia Statute of Religious Freedom, they're prescribing any citizen as unworthy the public confidence by laying upon him an incapacity of being called to offices of trust and emolument unless he professes or renounces this or that religious opinion, is depriving him injuriously of those privileges and advantages to which, in common view of his fellow citizens, he has a natural right. If you are an American, you get to pick your own religion. And if you look at all these persecutions, what you have to understand is, it doesn't matter if you want the government to persecute some other religion and you give them the power to do so. Once you set up that mechanism of persecution, once you give anybody that kind of power, it can eventually reflect on you, even if you are of the same religion that the government is of. If you have any minor differences to them, the history is a testament to that they are going to persecute you in the most violent way. If you look at the persecutions in Russia, they were burning them and cutting out their tongues over how many fingers you're going to make the sign of a cross with. So this is why they made this. And this is a God-given right. I am an American, but I am also a Muslim. My commitment to religious freedom doesn't only come from the Constitution. It first comes from the Quran. It is the Quran that teaches us that there shall be no compulsion in religion. That whoever believes, let him believe, and whoever disbelieves, let him disbelieve. That if God had willed it, all people in the earth would have believed. Are we going to force people to be believers? God can do that without us. Everybody should have freedom of religion. And it is very important for every American to understand that. Do not give the government the mechanism to suppress religious opinion, even if you're doing so to suppress religious opinion you disagree with at this time. People are going to be demonized, just like the old believers were in Russia, or the Cathars were during the Albigensian Crusade, or the Protestants or the Catholics were during the Protestant and Catholic Wars. Somebody's always going to tell you that these are evil people, but go and meet them yourself. We all have the same moral commandments. Whoever is committed to the commandments of God is not going to be a liar, it's not going to be a murderer, it's not going to be a thief. And you can talk to those people and see for yourself. I am a Muslim and an American. And although I may disagree with my government's foreign policy, and I may disagree with some of the domestic policy, that is my right as an American, and I get to speak to that. But it is also my right as an American to be whatever religion I want to be. And if I want to change my religion tomorrow to something you hate even more, I have that right. But that doesn't make me un-American. Whoever seeks to deny me that right is the one that is un-American. Peace and God bless.